Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Whaleshares Creation Show. I'm not sure which number it is. Breeze seems to know better than I do. Breeze, what show are we on?
Number 5/6 of 56 of the new old Whaleshares Curation Show.
Okay, so I thought we were approaching 50, the half century. What I'm thinking is that when we get to 52 and we can count back, we could do something a bit special, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We might need some help from the whales with this. Anyway, welcome to the 50th-ish Whaleshares Creation Show. This week, you are going to see the first judge for the Laureate Awards, which is something I've been going on about for ages. And probably somebody thought, is he ever going to get it done? Are we ever going to see this come to fruition? Well, this week you will see the first judge. Judges to follow. I haven't got any music this week. Got anyone who wants to freestyle for us, so that could happen as well. And do I not sound good?
Happy to play if you need it.
Okay. We've got you as a backup. Hold on, I need to check. Is my voice all right? Do I need to refresh or something?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, all right, that's good. Anyway, so at the halfway point, I will tell you about our new judge for our Literary Short Fiction Award, which is going to be something that anyone in the whole world can enter rather than just for Whaleshares. The idea is to onboard people to the platform from that. But first, we could just jump straight into our first post, which will be Cotrin. But before I do that, I'll just explain, if you're new here, this is a show where you generally listen in. There's four of us. We talk about posts we've pre-selected. At the end, if you can make it through to the end, you will get some free upvote tokens, courtesy of Krista, who's very, very generous. And I think it's about this. That's about it this week. It's going to be quite a simple week. Anyway, okay, over to you, Cotrin.
To me? I thought Linda was going to start.
No, Linda needed to go to the toilet, so it's you, I think.
That's very right, but I'm back.
Oh, okay. Well, Linda, if you're back, you can take over.
If you want to go, you can go. I was just not sure you were ready to go.
I can be. I was gonna go after you, but I can go first.
Go.
Okay, this is my first pick, and for today's curation, I picked two people from Russia because this is where I'm from, and I was like, I might as well do that. But this is not the main reason why behind it. Those posts, I felt like they were really nice and homey posts, kinda, but and they like didn't really have much rewards at all, like very low on the payout, and they just like a few days old already. Anyways, in this one, actually, I wanted to go ahead and say a few words about the person first before I continue with the post. This person, Yurtela, he joined the platform just 10 days ago, and he's an artist. He does a lot of painting and drawing and 3D art. He lives in the city of Bryansk, that's in Russia. And I'm not sure, do you guys want to see his introductory post or not really? Anyone?
Are you asking something about the introductory post, or are we talking about the post?
You can show it, but just do this post first, maybe.
I already posted his post in the chat, but I was just wondering if you guys wanted to take a quick peek at the intro post because you can see the art that he does, and I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Okay, this is his intro post, so you can see what kind of work he does. But the post that I wanted to promote today is just family fun, that he was going mushroom hunting with his family. I don't know how old the pictures are, but the post is like, oh, I forget how many days old, but maybe like about a week old or something, or half a week. And I've never seen mushrooms big like that before, and I thought that that was pretty cool that he shared those. He said that a lot of people in other countries they have to pay for mushroom harvesting license. I don't know. I went mushroom hunting once in eastern Kentucky, and I didn't find any mushrooms, but it was for free. So I'm not sure how true that information is. Anyways, he said that they the entire family goes to collect those mushrooms and they cook those afterwards at the house. And I thought it would be cool if he added some pictures of them eating the mushrooms with their friends and family, but he didn't include those. Anyways, I thought it was pretty decent post.
I'm quite impressed. He's got those two big baskets of mushrooms. They all look different. I don't know anyone who'd be brave enough to collect such a broad spectrum of mushrooms. Because
there you're wrong. You know somebody.
Oh, you would? Okay, you know about mushrooms. Well, here, okay, in England, nobody really does it because people are just afraid to get killed. In France, there's a different system. You can take your mushrooms to the chemist, and they will look at them and say, "Yep, you can eat that," and "No, you can't eat that." But obviously, if you've got some like magic ancient knowledge, you could do this. But this is lost, forgotten knowledge for me.
I think harvesting mushrooms where I live is especially quite dangerous because we've got the psilocybin mushrooms growing up in the mountains. So, as well, alongside with some really poisonous ones, which makes it interesting. So you never know what you're going to get. I would be very scared to do that, but I'm happy to see that people do forage for food. I don't know why, but it always just makes me feel happy on the inside.
This is so cool because he has the best mushrooms in the world in that basket, and I'm so excited because forget those truffle thingies. The brown ones are the best, and the yellow with the yellow inside they're called butter mushrooms because they're buttery. And then there are the smaller ones, which I don't like that much because they're the most common mushrooms that taste like meh, but they're okay. But those big ones, they are the best mushrooms in the freaking world. Oh, this reminds me so much of my grandma. This is a cool post. I love it.
I don't think I've had those mushrooms, the butter ones that you're mentioning. But I would definitely like to try. Somehow, this post also reminded me of some canned mushrooms that my grandma's brother would bring back to her, and I would eat them that they collected in the woods in Belarus. But I personally never been like really hunting mushrooms before, well, except for that one time in Kentucky when I didn't find anything. But yeah, it just like this post makes me think of something that I already experienced and I never did. A bit weird.
Yeah, and speaking of the license, you need a license if you're picking mushrooms for distributing them. Like if you're going on the market, like even selling them, but if you pick them for yourself, there's a certain amount that you don't need a license for, at least in my country. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And what I wanted to say something, but you just said I wanted to answer to that. I forgot. Doesn't matter.
Okay, nice post. We've learned something about mushrooms. That guy has got some gymnastic skills as well. Another question about Russia, Kotrin. Do all Russian men at school learn some sort of gymnastics? Because he is putting himself in his introductory post. He's holding onto a railway line and doing some sort of like forward-leaning plank maneuver that looks incredibly hard. Yet he doesn't look like a particularly physical man. So I wondered if there's some like Cold War gymnastics that everybody does, and it makes them all strong.
I think it is just his hobby. Because in school you would have your gym class, and everybody, like boys and girls, would do the same things. So I don't think there was anything special kids had to do other than just like playing sports, you know. But I think it's just his hobby.
Okay, interesting. Right, very nice. Anyway, should we move on to the next post? Linda, we'll go to you now.
Oh, I have a little backstory. Remember last week how we were comparing those two girls that looked the same, Katra?
Yep, that's the same one, isn't it?
No, I don't think it's the same. I think they're sisters because they mention each other, but that's not the point. Because you opened the profile, I realized that I had curated her, but I had forgotten to add her to my list. So basically, I just curated and forgotten. So I was kind of making it up and wanted to make it up. And I opened her post, and I love these snow thingies right now, snow posts, because they remind me of home. And I've had a pretty hectic week, so I just wanted something that makes me smile, you know. And I was like, oh, this makes me feel nice. I like it. And it reminds me of my countryside. We don't have, I mean, we have as much purchase, and it just feels so, you know, so free and so, so wild. And she has also an amazing self-portrait posts. So I would suggest looking at her blog as a whole, not on one post, which I wasn't sure which to pick from, herself or the view, because I was like, she looks beautiful as well, you know, and her own portraits, but I decided on the nature because that's what speaks to me right now. I haven't I haven't been out that much, and I want to go home, and this is like home. And I like, especially since the two roads go their separate ways and then they join again. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, I like those as well. It started snowing on and off over here in the last week, probably. I dread the winter in Detroit. It's too cold, but these landscapes, they don't make you feel cold, and you look at them just like dreamy.
Yeah, exactly. It's not too much snow. It's just, you know, you would still like to have a walk there, you know, and you wouldn't be like, oh, snow everywhere, cold feet and everything, and wet feet. This is, I think, in my opinion, very artistic and very just, you know, serene and relaxing, and I like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, did you find out that they're sisters for sure?
No, I didn't. But even
Hmm.
if she has two profiles, they're not posting the same things on the both profiles, so I don't see an issue with it, is there?
No, I was just curious if that was hers, like if they were related or not.
Well, she mentions her sister, I think, in one of the older blog posts. I didn't look into it more, but you know, maybe they are sisters. They look similar. I'm just saying maybe, not assumptions, just a maybe.
We should ask her. I'm gonna ask her in a comment.
You should come on
This post
and tell
is
us how
really
it went.
cool.
Sorry, Breeze, go on.
No, sorry, I'm interrupting. This post is so nice. It's like I would title it the Milky Way or something. It's so beautiful, and I've never experienced snow, so I'm always intrigued by photos like this. And it's, like you said, very artistically taken photos, so I can definitely appreciate this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I think for you it would be the perfect amount of snow for the first time because you wouldn't be overshocked.
No, if I do experience snow, I wanna dive into it like into a pool. I wanna lose at least one toe to frostbite by the time I'm done. I wanna like have the full experience, you know.
But you have to think about that. Maybe there is dog poop under the snow, so you better don't jump in it. But if you want, you could come to Latvia and we have frozen sea and everything, so
A frozen sea.
don't eat the yellow snow. Why not? That's the most delicious one, would say.
I didn't know there was frozen sea either.
Like the
impressive.
beginning of the sea. Like the waves get frozen in motion, and they build on top of each other, and it's really beautiful. I'll make some pictures this year because I'm going back to Latvia, and I'm gonna share them with you.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
interesting. I'm going to look out for that. Okay, really good post. Shall we go on to Breeze's post?
Oh, yes. Well, you were noting that Raj is in the audience tonight, and I just felt, you know, we never leave a fallen man behind, and he's been a great part of this team for such a long time. And I came across one of his posts today, and I just saw how undervalued it was. And I'm just like, no, this is our friend. We will not let him go down that path. But I opened the post, and it was a very beautifully, almost, well, as only Raj can, poetically written, short horror story. It's a bit difficult to go into full details on the curation because it's something that everyone has to read, and I really hope that they do take the time to read it. But anyone that knows Raj would be able to read the post and close it without looking at the name and go like, must have been Raj. So I decided to curate one of his posts tonight as a tribute to our long lost friend, and I'm so glad that he could make it in the audience today.
So what was the story about the King of the Dead? Is it like the main zombie of the pack?
I think we need Raj on voice. Raj, are you able to speak?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, Raj.
Hi, Raj.
Hi,
Hey.
yeah, the story is just like kind of so there's like a guy who's the king of the dead. He's kind of like a lich, is what they call him in fantasy fiction circles, and he's just, the whole of the world is just covered in corpses. He's basically killed everything in the world, and he's got these zombies sort of shoveling the bodies to try and get a patch of bare earth so that something can live again. It's maybe not one to read before bed, to be honest.
That's a pity, because I was going to suggest that you could now read it for us. Do you think you could? Do you fancy doing that?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's got quite a romantic ending, to be honest, but there are parts of it that are a little bit not safe for work, or whatever you want to say. But let me just get it up and I'll read it. It might take 5 minutes to read, though. I think it's about 500 words long, something like that.
That's all right. That's all right. Story time.
Okay, I haven't done this for a while, so I'll try not to trip up too much. The empty, aching eye cast its gaze across the grey fields. Corpses rot in place of soil. The buzz of flies. Actually, one sec. Can I just get up a second draft of this? There's one. There's a section where the edit's wrong in this. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I should apologise to everyone. I really meant to get the music done this week, but as you'll see at the halfway point, I've been busy doing other stuff. So you will get music at some point. I'd like to have sound effects as well. But
I can sing.
whilst Raj is doing his stuff, you sing a little bit for us.
And in my head, in my mind, this is where we all came from. Okay, that's enough.
Boy, I've missed that voice.
It's horrible voice, but you all have to listen to it, because I work here.
Okay, I've got another draft up. This one's, there were just some tense issues in that one. Sorry. So the story's called Life Will Out. The empty eye socket cast its gaze across the grey fields. Corpses rot in place of soil. The buzz of flies toiling over their gluttony scatter the sky like ash on the breeze. Here and there, the restless dead go about their tasks, moving the heaps this way and that in a constant search for a bare patch of life-giving earth, a place to nurture a sprouting plant, a patch of loam for the sun to kiss, for rain to caress a hope of life bursting forth in orgasmic rapture. The flutter of the wind stirs a group of flies from their slumber, and maggots make merry on the mountains of meat. Abratstan sighs a hollow rattle. No breath in that sigh, that expression of a time nearly beyond unliving memory. He pulls folds of flapping flesh around him like a cloak to ward away the cold. But there is no cold, no heat, no shiver from winter's wanton ways, just endless gore and the mountains of the dead. They were his soldiers once, his path to greatness, each one loved for the role they played. General, grunt, king, pawn, it was all the same since the plague had come. The trickling stream flows through cracks and crevices like a guilty lover returning home from a tryst. Through muscle crevices and crevasses of hollow bone, marrow long eaten by the myriad of decay. Nonetheless, this trickle reaches the ground, the sapient earth, and lingers for a moment before sinking, gulped down by the thirsty soil. After a time, a brief season of the passing sun, a flower blooms from reaching stem, the sun blazing in sympathy with its winking eye, and the rotting dead feed its roots. A Bratsan floats over the hills of pestilence, the place where the fighting was once fiercest. He hasn't been here in over 100 years, ever since that time of great change. The memory of her singing flutters through his mind, the sirens call in the echoing halls of his soul. This is his penance, an unending remembrance of her cadence, a chatter of a spring born in the high vales of his long-ago home. A Smolin singing, her hair a weave of sunburst in the corpulent green, serenading the honeybees bumbling about their business. The golden leaves of Falonmouth and Garonmouth trees listen to the sacred heart of life. The mother and father of the acorn wave their arms to the rhythm of her song. She had been the living embodiment of that country, the scion of magic, and he had destroyed it all. Nothing left but death and the squall of bitter rain. Nothing but memories and pain. Nothing but eternal rot and decay. Suddenly, a green flash on the horizon catches his attention. A note of hope borne on the moist breeze, the start of a sonata long missed. He focuses his attention on that spot and summons all his power to move through the bodies of his dead, feeling every fly burrowing, every maggot shriving, even the final vestiges of life in the small mammals that feed on the entrails of the newly defunct. He feels the tight pull of slack sinew in the still animated as they labour until spent in the sepulture fields. He appears among a grove of monstrous plants. Large, spade-like leaves sway in time to a music that he can't hear. Fear grips him for the first time in a millennia, but he brushes it aside. Giant blood-red stalks erupt in a fountain of pink and green flowers, garish as guts rent by the sword. The leaves are slashed with strange markings, like runes dancing in the sickly glow of the flowers. Abratsan, you have come to greet your queen who once you loved. Slowly he turns. Asmolin gazes from the hollow place among the pulsing petals. Her golden hair disperses in motes of light like pollen's flight in the summer's dawn. Eyes like two green wells of deep refrain wet with the mead of poetry. Her lips sting his mind with the fullness of life as she leans forward to whisper, "Life will out, Abratsan. There can be no life without death, no start without finish." He starts to cry tears of blood as he melts under the pressure of unattainable life. "Let me live, Asmolin. I always loved you. I destroyed everything for you. I made the world a dead place after you gave yourself to the lands. No, my dear Abratsin, you have spent it all 1,000,000 times over. You have spent your life in lichdom, but now I shall set you free." She kisses him, and a breath of hot, sweet life passes into him. Finally he sighs and fades away in the dying night.
Oh, very good. I like that. Raj, is that inspired by something like the names, for example? And it made me think of like some of the old Hindu texts.
It's an odd one. I just kind of I went to Steamfest free. I know Whaleshares and Steam, it's kind of in competition, but one of the things we did was visit Auschwitz. And although this fantasy story is in no way kind of it in no way could describe or it doesn't really have any analogy with the horrendous atrocities that happened there. The story just poured out of me a couple of days ago. So I think just the amount of death in it really was kind of almost inspired by that visit to Auschwitz in a way. I mean, the story kind of ends on a sort of hopeful note, talking about, you know, there can't be death without life. I think it was a reaction to that, but that's about as far as I can analyze it.
Okay, so perhaps it came from somewhere deep down after those experiences. What about the name? Did that just come to you? Did you puzzle that out, or did it pop into your head?
It popped into my head. All of the names in it sort of just flowed kind of naturally, and then the sort of backstory about the time before this undead king has destroyed the world, that all just sort of grew organically. It's a rare short story because it only went through like one draft. I wrote it, and then I think I just checked that my grammar was right, and then I was happy with it, which is not usual. I usually put stories through a couple of drafts.
It reminded me of Game of Thrones, but in different direction. I don't know why.
Yeah, sure. And it did, like I was talking about maybe some influence coming from the visit to Auschwitz, but honestly, it was just like fantasy writing is what I really want to do. I want to write novels of fantasy. So quite often, if I get into fantasy writing mode, it just starts pouring out of me. And yeah, I see where you're coming from on Game of Thrones, like the King of the Dead and that.
Breeze, Cotrin, any thoughts?
I'm just entranced by Raj right now and his voice. I've really missed him on the show, Nick. I've missed you, Raj.
We all missed you, Raj. I thought you were gonna be back and do your part when it comes to poetry, but I think you were pretty busy here lately.
Oh, thank you guys. And yeah, I think I might have chatted with Nick and a few of you guys about it. It's just ongoing kind of problems I have with illness, really, that kill my time. I can only sort of put a certain amount of time in, but I am quite keen to come back in some way because it's a great.
Raj, I got something else for you that you can get involved with afterwards that you'd be able to do in your own time in this next post. So hold on for a second, you will see that.
Fantastic.
Right, I think that's a brilliant post. I really love the creativity of it, and Raj's writing is always impressive. And this leads us on to the next post, which is something I've been going on about. Hold on, let me just get the address for it. So the Laureate Prize, I've been talking about for a while. Just to fill you in if you're not sure what it is, it's an attempt to take the mainstream by creating competitions for different creative arts, getting real-world successful judges to judge them, and onboarding lots of normies onto the Whaleshares platform and onto crypto. So I've been struggling to get people confirmed, because I don't know if you know this or not, but successful writers and poets and creative people, they're sometimes, how can I say it? It's not like dealing with normal people where you get a yes or a no. They want to ask a lot of questions, or they take a long time to answer, that kind of thing. But I've nailed down my first person, who is a brilliant short story writer, very successful, cares almost nothing for publicity and critical acclaim, though he has had some. He's published quite a few books now. He started off as a genre writer, crime genre. He taught himself to write, and he's also run for a long time a really successful, what I would say would be like a boot camp, he calls it, for short story writing, which is extremely challenging as well. Like, his gripe is that all over the internet there's groups of people backslapping each other, and what that does is support the ego, and what it doesn't do is force you to get better. So anyway, this guy I think is really good. He's going to judge the first competition. I am guaranteeing the prize at $300 for. Oh no, this is not me. This is the midway point, Krista. This is the project I've been working on. This is why I haven't curated anything this week. Anyway, what I thought I would do is let any of you who are interested ask questions about this, because perhaps you've got lots, perhaps you've got none. So I don't know. I don't know how clear I've been with it, but I think we could make this huge.
You need to tell them how actually popular this guy is. Like, really convince us, Nick.
Well, it's not popular yet because we haven't spread it. The strength of it will be that we can, by upvoting, increase the prize pool. It will be free to enter because we've got the perfect mechanism.
I meant
for
the
this.
guy, the judge.
Oh, okay.
You need to tell us how actually, how he is really, like, he is not striving artist. He is an artist.
Oh yeah. He's published. He judges competitions. He's run a school for like a paid tuition thing that you can go to, boot camp. It was free to start with. I don't know if have you heard of Monica Ali, who wrote Brick Lane, some of the more literary types. Well, anyway, he mentored her, I believe. In the short story writing world in the UK, he's a big deal. He's been published in things like the Atlantic Monthly. I think he might have had one in the New Yorker as well. So some of the biggest publications there are. Anyway, he's basically the real thing. He's got connections everywhere. But the point is not so much that it's nice to have connections, but we can spam this competition on every writing forum all over the internet to get people to enter, because it's free to enter. Most competitions you pay like a $5 or a $10, but because of the setup we've got with Whaleshares, we don't need to charge that. We can get revenue, to cover the prices, cover the costs with posting, that kind of thing. So it's I think it's the perfect system to tie real world mainstream adoption with the strength of this blockchain that we've got. And the other thing is it's not just one prize, it's going to be a few. So we've got a poetry one that's almost sorted out. I've been talking to someone about an electronic music prize, various photography ones we could go with. I thought about like a short film script, something like that. So all these areas of creativity where Steam, it has competitions, but it's all a bit cozy. It's the Steemit people judging the Steemit people for Steemit upvotes. And I thought we need to get beyond that if we're going to get big and we're going to show the world what this blockchain technology can do. We need to get proper people, serious artists who think, wow, I can enter this competition on this new system. I can learn about it. And there's loads of writing forums that could be brought to this that could be brought to Whaleshares as well. They could have their own little bit, their own little tags, and instead of assessing each other's work and giving each other backslaps, they could give each other some upvotes and things. I think it's so perfect for mass adoption, but we've got to actually go out there and bring people in by saying, look what we've got, and this is my attempt to do it. And the other thing was, Raj, the reason I mentioned you, we're going to have, if we get as many entries as I think we'll get, we're going to need multi-level judging, because Alex has agreed to judge 50 short stories, which is quite a lot if they're 5,000 words each. And he's going to write a judging report, that kind of stuff. But if we get more than that, we're going to need to create a first sort of judging thing, then a long list, and a short list as well. I've been speaking to someone, also we'll need judges for that. I've been speaking to someone as well for a print production. Once you get to the short list, you will be in the Whaleshares magazine of this prize, the Curate Laureate Prize. So there's all these things that I think we can do with this that we're not doing at the moment. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll answer as best as I can. And if you don't have any questions, just watch the space. You'll see more being rolled out over time, more details, more criteria, that kind of thing, rules, all sorts of stuff. So don't be shy, feel free to ask anything. And also another useful thing would be comment on the posts, because Laureate would like to upvote your comments. It feels lonely at the moment.
When is the planned? When are you planning to open the competition for writing? Do you have a time frame yet?
Yes, first one in New Year, and just into the new year, and I think it's going to be open. Like short story competitions need to be open for a long time, so I think it's going to be open for at least 9 months. So we're looking at having it judged autumn next year.
Would all the entries need to be in Whaleshares, like in a post on Whaleshares?
Not totally sure how that's going to work. I'm thinking that everybody gets one free entry. The problem is you put it on Whaleshares, it's public, and then they lose the right to publish it elsewhere if they don't win. So you've got to do it privately to start with. So I'm thinking email to start with, and then once you make it to the long list, you effectively, by being on the long list, you get published in the print sort of finalist version. You get a free copy of that, and we will post the post of that, and people can peruse these things whilst the judges are working things out.
Nick, have you have you spoken to them about the idea of getting remuneration, getting like money back to waive first publishing rights? I was trying to figure out an idea I've got for a community idea, you see, and I was thinking there must be some way with like these literary journals that demand first publishing rights. And obviously if you put something on Steemit or on Whaleshares or on any other platform, they'll say, well, it's previously published, but often it's to do with advertising revenue. I'm not sure if I'm right about that, but I was just wondering.
Here's the thing. The only stuff that will get published will be stuff that makes it to an exclusive list. And so I'm thinking that if it gets put in the print book, by entering, you agree to have it published if you make it, say, to the last 25 or last 15. And then we can, you know, with upvotes and things, we can offer prizes for the lower people in the form of well, this person did this well, they can have an upvote. And what's the other thing? Okay, so most of the time with a competition, I think you said first serial rights. As I understood it, the rights for publishing are, there's no ownership implied, but we can publish it if you get to a certain point. So most writers will accept that if they enter a competition, if it gets, you know, to the shortlist, then it will be published, and they will get in the final book. But obviously, yeah, you can't have everybody just throwing away their best pieces by us spamming them all. So that's why we've got the idea of the print book. So they get it published in the print book that they get free if they win. People can buy that. We can make it nice professional quality thing. And obviously the winners get cash prizes, and the lower level people can have some crypto prizes as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great, and I think it does make sense to an extent because, like in the mainstream publishing world, they would be a lot more secure, a lot more happy looking at it. You know, like other journals looking at it and taking it seriously would be a lot more happy if it's following this like the same kind of criteria or whatever, the same model that they use. Like I was originally listening to you, I was thinking, oh well, everyone could sort of put up their stories and have them judged on Whaleshares kind of thing. But as you say, if the top 15 are winning cash prizes, then it's following exactly the same model as literary journals. It's probably the best idea. It's a good idea as well.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Cotrin is a huge project, but the idea is to make Whaleshares, which is currently niche, into a huge thing. Think how many people in the world are creative, and how many competitions there are where, you know, with decent prizes, and you have to pay to enter all of them. We, because of how we're structured with upvotes and things, we won't need to charge. We've got volunteers who can be paid from some of the revenue from the different accounts. They can be paid via upvotes. There's all sorts of ways to cover costs and things and to channel money to the best users. I think, like, for non-professionals, the biggest prize for a short story in the world would be like $5,000, and that's £5,000. That's like the Bridport prize. These are really huge prizes. You get like 20, 30, 40,000 entries. Maybe we can't do that this year, but you know, I've said 300 at the moment. Once we get up a bit, I'll be able to guarantee 500, and we can keep that prize rolling up. We've got some money that gets pushed to the judge for his time. There's the possibility for people to pay for an expert critique by Alex, for example. So he's happy to do that. Let's say you want 400 words on your piece. It doesn't necessarily have to win. It could be kept private, but you know, like a sort of consultation, they could pay for that in some sort of tokens or something. There's all sorts of ways we can do extra stuff. I'm guaranteeing the cash. You asked me this before, Katrin. I'm guaranteeing the cash out of my own cash to start with. Hopefully, I'll be able to cover it with my account and anyone else who wants to back it with the collateral from those accounts. And then we've got like private keys. You can, you know, there's people who are, what's his name, Neoxian, will lend you money against your account with private keys, stuff like that. There's lots of different ways to finance things. But yeah, well, I mean, you know, my dream would be able to be able to offer a $5,000 prize at some point, maybe not this year, next year, and get like 50,000 entries, and then suddenly you've got a huge deal going on. Raj, you've got the right idea. That sounds brilliant. I don't know about how we do that kind of stuff. Okay, a token would be wonderful. We can talk about this, how we can run this afterwards during divisions, but that's brilliant of you. Anyone else got questions? I did have the idea that different competitions with different judges, you could have the possibility of a paid for feedback with the judge adds a little bit extra. So it's easy with short stories, poems, and things like that as well. There could be a laureate token where if you buy, say, 50 of them, the equivalent of, I don't know, $8, $9, $10, then that can be passed on to the judge, and he can do some extra, you know, give some extra feedback for you, that kind of thing. Exactly, fiat and crypto, yes, yeah. So we've got something so valuable and so efficient and so much better than the real world, but we've got to find ways to bridge it, to bring them in. One of the best ways to do that is with enticing people with cash. I thought I'd have more questions than this. Come on, there must be some more.
With the initial writing contest, how is that going to be? Is there going to be a breakdown? Is there going to be different genre writings? Is it going to be given topics, or, you know, prompts, or how do you intend that to work?
So far, I've got a bare minimum of 4. So we've got short literary fiction, which is its own genre. It's hard to define, but once you've looked at the sphere for a while, you get an idea of what it is, and the judge can give guidelines what he's looking for, and you're generally expected to look at a judge's work to think whether your work is going to gel with him. Then I've got genre fiction as another one, so I'm going to get a different judge for that. I've got some people in mind. I haven't made contact with any of them. So that different sort of prize, sci-fi, horror, any sort of genre really. Then there's poetry. Still talking to a couple of people with this because poets are very slow and they like to think about things. But we'll get one. We'll get someone good. I'm 100% certain we will get someone who in the world of poetry is famous. And then another one, which is a far less known genre, is flash fiction, which is under 500 words. And that to me is a different art form all its own. It like fuses the sort of concision of short stories with the tightness of language of poetry, and you often get, yes, May J 99. Not a lot of people know it unless they've been in like creative writing groups, but you get a whole like a unique style, and there's not many prizes for it, not decent prizes anyway. You know, prizes for like $50 or something, or $100, and you have to pay to enter those. So 4 writing prizes is my bare minimum. There could be more, but we'll see how we'll go, because we'll roll it out and we won't have it all coming to fruition at once. So we'll start one prize and maybe wait a month, and the poetry one can kick off. So we're not all in a glut. And the other thing we can do is take judges. We're going to need multi-level judging, obviously, did I say this? To judge the huge amount to start with. We will need enthusiasts in the subject, so people who've got a strong interest in it. And then we're going to need experts, people who we can look at their work and say, okay, look, you clearly know your stuff with writing or poetry or flash fiction or, you know, photography, that kind of thing. I thought PowerPix knows a lot of photography. Might say to him, you could be an expert level judge. But 2 levels of judges, they could add a few tokens, that kind of stuff. There's so much we can do with it.
If I can cut in there with you doing the different or variations of the contest, like with the flash fiction and that, would you consider, now I'm not a writer myself, but maybe those who like to write longer stories, probably hosting the contest over a month, where the contest does not really have to end when the payout for a post ends on every contest, so to speak. So you could start at the start of a month and then finish at the end of a month with a longer storytelling type of post.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of flexible possibilities. I think talking to anyone, see what people want, that kind of thing. I think to get people in initially, though, you need the old style of competition where there's a fixed judge, parameters. They promise a judging report, ideally a print publication that the winners go in, and a solid prize, that kind of thing. And we will we'll focus on that. But yeah, all sorts of flexibility. But I think there's probably people doing that already, Braden. There's probably all sorts of like write your ongoing story, take turns to write bits, that kind of stuff. So I'm not against it. I'm open to it, but I'm not prioritizing that kind of thing yet.
I think, yeah, I listening to all this, I think you've kind of got the right idea, Nick. I think the thing that is probably going to take a lot of time, and it's the only thing that might end up tripping it up or making it more difficult than it would be, is sort of getting the anthology, getting the paper print done together, and the amount of entries you're going to get if you promote it outside of the blockchain world as well. And so when you say, choosing one thing, so maybe choosing poetry, and then after you've got that done, moving on to a type of genre fiction or literary fiction or something, and doing them one at a time is definitely a good idea, because it's going to be a lot of work.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, the anthology will be fine as long as it gets sorted out. It's not hard to get a really top quality publication put together, beautifully typeset and stuff. There are companies who'll do it for you, as long as you say, okay, we can pay you this at this point.
I agree completely. The only thing is, there was one writers community that tried to do it on Steam about 6 months ago, and I know they had every intention to do it, and I think they still do, but the market fluctuation completely kind of wiped them out on the funding, I think. I've not spoken to the founders properly, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. So it's just a thing to sort of have in mind when planning it, that I think that's why I was saying I really agree with your focused approach. Like a quick turnaround on the project or the competition is good, because those printing costs, like if the market going up and down, if it's being funded a lot from revenue coming from posts, it can end up leaving you stung if it's a long turnover.
Yeah, don't worry. I used to work in banking, so I know all about hedging as well. So you can hedge costs. So like in simple terms, you could think, right, we'll take that out, we'll put it in cash, or we'll put it even in a crypto that tracks cash, or there's a BitShares, for example, that tracks silver, the silver price, that kind of thing. So it's all of this kind of stuff is absolutely fine as long as you plan for it. But no, it's good of you to point that out as well, Raj.
Cool. I'll shut up now.
No, don't need to shut up. Keep asking questions if you want.
Just
Editing.
joking.
I used to be, when I wasn't a banker, I was a copywriter and editor as well. So I might not do it all myself, but there's that. Oh, you need a copy editor. Oh, okay. Anyway, so I'm hoping this will be a huge thing. I'm hoping loads of you can be involved. And we can make this a real hub, and we can constantly onboard new talented people. Here's the other thing. Crypto is full of geeks, and geeks are great, techie geeks, but it's attracted them a lot more than it's attracted the arty people. We are a minority, and arty people are far less likely to learn the new tech than the geeks. So this is how we balance things out. Geeks, arty people will learn stuff if they think, hold on, that's a proper competition with a proper judge. It looks like the real thing. Oh, and it's got a generous reward, and then they will see a whole new community where they can do where they can have their old writing internet community that everybody's got, and they can do it so much better and make some money on it. Anyway, I've probably blathered on enough now. Any more questions?
Nope, I'm fresh out, sorry.
Anyone else?
I think it's covered for it now and until you figure out more information on just like come up with some ideas who else you're going on board from the off blockchain world.
Yes, that's fair enough. What we will need ultimately is some sort of apostles that we can send out to the 12 apostles we can send out to all the corners of the world to spread the gospel of this message. So people go to different writing communities or poetry communities, people who know them already, say, look at this.
I can approach an old friend in the creative writing degree course that I was on, and see if it can be promoted to creative writing students.
Brilliant, perfect. What about even approaching other creative writing universities? There's about like 15 or 20, I guess, in the UK that do creative writing courses. Would that be right, Raj? You probably know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just I'm trying to offer something that I know I can achieve myself.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, you could be the hub, and you could have little apostles. So you could approach one or two, and you could get some people to approach the rest of the ones in the UK. You'd need American ones, Australian ones. I don't know, India. There's probably a lot of people who speak English in universities all over the world. So get those people off they go. Email the department. Keep going till they get an answer. Get them to agree this is a competition. It's very easy to spread the word if you have if you have the right persuasion and spread the message out.
Sure, it can be like dominoes. Like I can reach out to. I've got a friend who's a published poet, and she lectures in a few universities actually. But then I've got a friend who's a lecturer in my old university, and then hopefully knocking those dominoes down, they can then knock on with their contacts, and it'll sort of perpetuate like that. Exactly.
And we're at the perfect point where a lot of people are getting sick with Twitter and Facebook and the partisan way they're picking and choosing what they want to see. And we can say, we don't pick a side. If you want to say it, it's the blockchain. You can say it. That can really push things as well to the creative people who are often big fans of freedom. Anyway, I really will shut up now and let's go back to another post. How about that? But thank you all for listening and indulging me, and feel free to approach, send me a DM or something if you've got any suggestions or questions, because I'm always open to it. Oh, one question.
Yeah.
Why don't you type the question, and then after Linda's post in the Indigo Ocean, I can come back to it.
So should I?
Oh, sorry, the question is there. Hold on. I live next door to a journalist. I've been trying to get into Whaleshares. Is that in line with your thoughts or not creative enough? I mean, it's always good to get new people. How do you mean that? What, get them to enter the competition? Yes, great. Get them to post on the platform? Yes, absolutely great. I didn't have an idea for a journalist-centric competition for journalism. I don't know. I mean, there could be travel writing. That could be a thing, couldn't it? I don't know much about it. It's not something I particularly like, but we could have like a short travel writing competition, that kind of thing. News, yeah, I suppose. All this stuff is possible. We will just have to thrash out the ideas until we get good stuff. But I started with poetry and short literary fiction because they're the main two. Anyway, sorry, Linda, back to you now.
Should I go? Should I stay or should I go?
Yes, go now.
I chose a person that I know from Steamit, and cover your screen if you don't like spiders. But this spider is so cute and so weird and so different and so colorful that you just have to love it even if you hate spiders. Look at how he has the thingies. But I know of Roots Girl from Steamit, and she is pretty amazing. She's posting very great content, and I hope she's gonna post as an amazing content on Whaleshares now, especially since she posted those beautiful pictures of weird spiders, and she made it very cute by giving all of the spiders voice, even the babies and the teenagers, especially the teenager who is looking for internet in the village. So I think it's funny, it's beautifully made, and if you like work that is crafted deliciously, and that is, if you are looking for a blog to follow, again, overall blog, because I've been obsessed with overall aesthetics, not just one blog post lately. So I think I'm gonna be doing that more often, mentioning that more often. Ruth Girl, she publishes photos of nature, animals, and she writes about sciencey things, and I think it's a pretty amazing post. What do you guys think?
Boy, those yummy spiders. Delicious post indeed. I think I'm gonna catch some and flash fry.
Oh yes. Don't forget the breadcrumbs, and one of them has bee, so you can have a bee on your side.
Yep, some honey.
For dessert.
I once smoked a bee in a bong at university. Don't ask me why, but we thought it was a good thing to do. It tasted horrible.
Well,
I love the way that it's like you said, that she put little voices to them and gave them all like a little backstory. Isn't that a wonderful way to depict the nature photos? Because I find sometimes even with my nature photography, it can be a little bit bland. I mean, you can give little fact files on the animals or a little bit of background or insights or thoughts, but this is just a whole new level of creativeness that she's put into with the pictures, and also very lovely pictures. We do get the crab spiders, yeah, but we don't get them as colorful as these. So we've got nice ones with black and yellow with diamonds on, but I've never seen a pink one. It's like a girly girl.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Oh, sorry, Cotton, go for it.
Thanks. I was just gonna say that I've never seen a pink spider before either. It looks like that plant. I wonder what kind of plant that is. But its camouflage is perfect.
He reminds me of Pokemon, like the pink part, the back part, like a Pokemon face, something.
I love the way that it's like a Pokemon face, something.
He reminds me of Pokemon, like the pink part, the back part, like a Pokemon face, something.
I think this is a little bit of pro-spider propaganda. She's got brightly coloured ones and she's put them on a green background, and they look all sweet.
Jigglypuff, is that you?
But imagine if they were not brightly coloured, slightly different ones, if they were not against a lovely green background, and if they were the same size as you. Think how hideous that would be.
Well, you wouldn't have to think. You would be eaten if they were the same size. But since they're small, and they're not the same size as humans, they usually are afraid of humans, and we just misunderstand those beautiful creatures. Let's talk about snakes now. Ugh.
I mean, even if you look at the size of the bee versus the size of the spider, they only have to be like a third of our size in order to devour us, technically. Huh?
Yeah, but there are no spiders like that, man.
And bees can fly away.
Well, I admire the artistry of that post, but I don't really like the spiders in it, because then people say they're your friends. They're only my friends because they're not big enough to mess with me. If they were the same size, it would be war.
If, when, and should. There is no... They are not your size, so deal with it.
He does. He squishes them with his shoe.
You know, I try not to, unless they're absolutely hideous. Like if you get, even now, if I see a really awful spider, I'll look for a glass to try and put over it, and then like try and take it outside, walk down the road a bit, and send them off on a quest somewhere else. So I think I've got better. I don't like killing them.
I have a spider living in my apartment in the corner behind a flower pot, so you can't see him. But he eats all the flies, and you know what I hate more than spiders? Flies and mosquitoes and fruit flies and all these little guys, because they're like, you know, they mess with you. And spiders just live in their little corners and leave you alone. And no, you don't eat 8 spiders in your sleep. That's just a urban legend. That's not true.
I hate flies as well. I kill them all the time. If I see them, they're dead.
Yeah, flies are dead.
After this post, we are going to have a musical interlude, courtesy of the Bug IQ. But I just want a small favour from any of you who can comply. Hold on one second. I'm not asking for you to upvote this at all. What I'm asking for is some comments on this post. Write some comments, and then I can upvote your comments with the Laureate account. It's desperate to start voting people. Anyway, sorry for bringing that back up. That was a lovely post, Linda. Probably about the best spider post I could imagine, because they're not my friends. Bug IQ, are you ready to sing for us?
I think so. I'll just do a short one. How do I sound?
Beautiful.
I think I'll just do a short little song, Blue Moon, Frank Sinatra, redone by the Mavericks, kind of my stylish. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. And without love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. without love of my own.
That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yes, and what a blast from the past. I mean, to think that song comes all the way from 1934 when it was initially written, and we got to hear it today. How's that for time travel?
Thank you.
You want to do another one?
Honey.
Sure, you want to hear one more?
What do we think? I think yes. Everyone?
I'm always a yes when
more
it comes
Frank
to listening.
Sinatra. He has that one song that I really love. I don't remember the name.
It's a resounding yes, please, Bug IQ. Thank you.
And I'll tell you what I'll do. I always get requests, and you know what I'll do is, as I get more into the groove of attending this show and you get to know me a little better, I'll take requests this week for next week instead of being on the spot. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. Can I do a request now?
Sure.
Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow.
Okay, just DM it to me after. DM me all your requests. Here's little John Mayer. Take all of your wasted honor, every little past frustration. Take all of your so-called problems, better put them in quotations. Say what you need to say, say what you need to say. Say what you need to say, say what you need to say. Say what you need to say, say what you need to say. Walking like a one-man army, fighting with the shadows in my head, living out the same old moment, knowing you'd be better off instead. Oh, say what you need to say, say what you need to say. Say what you need to say, say what you need to say. Say what you need to say, say what you need to say.
Woohoo! I wish I could clap and press
Beautiful,
down the
beautiful.
button.
We do need some sort of clap function. This is where I need to get the music or the sound effects set up. And we can have cheering, we can have all sorts.
Thanks, guys.
That was great. And then
Okay, so next week, Bug IQ is going to come on and we're going to make requests beforehand.
Yeah,
so
like,
if you
like tomorrow, yeah, or tonight, so I can learn them.
I was thinking like 10 minutes beforehand, and then off you go and learn some chords.
We're gonna have to chat about the format.
Okay. Anyway, so that was lovely, and probably you'll do more after your show, won't you? So in about 70 minutes, the Bug IQ and Snecky show is on. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit, just to let everybody know, and then we'll do a little bit more curation?
Yeah, so it's pretty much like Breeze's Sunday format. So it's going to be a curation show. Bring your link, bring your post. Crystal's going to show up and blow her VP to hell again, probably. We just have a good time, and we're pretty not traditional. Snecky and I, we're laid back. We accept anything from any platform, but as I always say, the lion's share of things do seem to be Whaleshares at the moment, and kind of loving it.
Good stuff. Snecky, you there? Anything to add?
Snake got her tongue.
Snecky.
I think the spider scared it off.
I think Snecky's mum might be visiting. Could that be true?
Yeah, her mom
Is your
is
mom there?
visiting right now,
Okay.
and it's pretty late, so she
Hello,
might be.
hello, Mrs. Snecky. Anyway, okay, so Q, thank you so much for that. Thank you for beautiful music. If you want to hear more from him and Snecky, they're on in a bit. You can dump at the end of the show. Do you want to dump your link post or something like that, Bug IQ, and you can, and then people will see where they need to go. And before that, we've got a couple more posts to do. Cotrin, have you got your second post?
Yes, this is my second post. And this one is by another artist. And I think she's in the room, or at least she was earlier. Well, I guess she left. So this one is by a lady named Svetlana. She's from St. Petersburg. And I met her a while back on Steemit and now just recently we found each other on Whaleshares. But anyways, in this post, she's creating a painting using Gombi technique for the first time. And this is something new she decided to do. She took online classes to practice. And this is what basically she was able to make. And it took her like a month to create this painting. So what this technique is, it's according to Wikipedia anyways, it's a careful realist technique, and it uses highly detailed brush strokes that delimits details very precisely. So it's like very close to the real thing, and have to be very precise painting it. Like you cannot be just like letting your imagination go. So anyways, she said that to do this, you need special kind of paper. You will see in the post it's super thin. And other than that, she uses two brushes, one for water, one for paint, and she works in gloves because this kind of paper absorbs fat and oils really easy. That's why she needs to use gloves for that. She said that she applied 25 layers of paint to complete this painting. That was pretty impressive in my opinion.
Oh wow, I can imagine that would take her a month. It's a very beautiful, intricate art style. I'm absolutely loving this post.
Thank you, Breeze.
I like how the colors are saturated in the bloom itself and not the leaves, so you're kind of drawn to the centerpiece. I mean, like the bloom first immediately.
Could you explain to me again this painting? It's not a watercolor, but she's done something that's taken 25 layers. Tell me again what she's done, because I didn't understand it.
So she says that she works with two brushes. One is for paint, and the other one is for water to wash off the paint, kind of like make a gradient. Did that make sense, Nick?
So it's like a watercolor, but like with an unusual style, where you put the paint on and then wash it off to give it like a light effect.
Yep, pretty much. First, like you do a sketch, and you see how like those leaves, like you see like they're very detailed, and like those black strokes and like contouring, I guess. She does that, and then she applies color.
And what's the name of this style, or is this something she's invented herself?
The style is called Gombi style. It's a traditional Chinese technique that it's like it's realistic painting technique.
Okay, brilliant. I knew nothing of this. I'm always surprised by the new art forms you come across, new subtle variations on Whaleshares and Steemit with the different posts. So yeah, good post, Cotrin. Well done. Nicely found.
Thanks.
I think that just leaves us. Oh, sorry. Are you going to speak, please?
No.
I was going to ask if Breeze presented her first post.
Yes, I did.
I
did. It
I
was
missed
Raj's
something
post. It was Raj.
Ah, yeah, that's
Yes.
why. Sorry. No, I saw that I upvoted it. I just read it, so I forgot that you presented it.
I just noticed this show has gone fairly quickly this week, and I was trying to work out what it was, and we haven't got sidetracked in any filth like we normally do. Like last week, we started talking about Linda's diarrhea holiday, 50 Shades of Brown, and this week we've just kept it clean, and the show has flowed along really smoothly. So I'm wondering what the audience prefer: keep it clean, or do you prefer the filth that we get bogged down in?
How? I didn't have diarrhea. What are we talking about?
No, you talked about your holiday where you were going to go to all hot places and see the effects on your stomach from the foods you ate, and you were going to make a diary about it. And then someone came up with the idea, calling it 50 Shades of Brown, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I totally forget about it. You know how it comes out of my mouth and it's gone from my head.
You know, Linda, you're not alone. I've traveled around the world and been hospitalized in a couple of countries because I too have stomach stuff when I go eat foreign things.
It's only somebody I know warned me that Thailand has bad street food for your tummy.
Because Crystal likes to keep it clean, and Crystal's our most loyal listener. I think I'm going to cut that subject off there because I feel bad now. I dragged us back in the filth. And let's go to the last post, which is Breeze's, and then we can take the mics off, and it can be a free for all. And Bud can sing, Linda can sing, Krista can sing. But yeah, Breeze, let's go to you.
Okay, my last little gem that I found was a completely dismally undervalued post done by Yurcello, and it's a very simple post, and actually it really spoke to me for some unknown reason. It's also an artistic post, creative post on the platform, which I highly admire because we are all about content creation, and he had this inspiration. He normally doesn't do faces, and lately he's been having this artistic inspiration to draw faces, and he's given 3 examples of the faces that he's recently drawn. So I think the style, everything that goes with it, it's not your average mundane style of drawing, which I found very interesting. And very beautifully detailed as well. Although the sketchiness in the details, you can also see the detail in the smaller features, like on the top picture, for example, in the eyes and the mouth. And it really just blew me away. So I decided this post was valued at something like 11 Whaleshares at the time that I found it, and that is just, for an artist, that's almost a slap in the face. So I wanted to give this guy a little bit more exposure and introduce him to the wonderful community that we've come to know and love on this little talk show of ours, and show him some love.
He's getting double love this week.
It's I see now. It's the same guy with the. I didn't even notice that. Oh gosh. Well, sorry about that.
Must be really special. Must be really special then.
Some divine intervention in his inspiration.
Well, he is a talented artist based on his paintings, the ones that I saw, and he's very new here, just like slightly over a week. So, if anybody goes to his page, you will notice that he doesn't really get that many rewards. So it's good that he got picked up by us tonight.
Spread the love, people. Spread the love. That's really nice technique, though. I really like it.
Yes, it's. I'm happy he will. He's had a brilliant day today. Then he'll wake up to some nice rewards. I think that's it. I think that's the end of the show. Now, this is what I'd always planned to do, keep it under 2 hours. So we've done 90 minutes today, and that's pretty good. And I didn't do any posts myself today because I was so busy with the other stuff. But it means we've got an hour before the Bug and Snecky's show. So we can, I'm going to make a cup of tea in a bit, but we could end the show and do some singing, all sorts of stuff. Any preferences? Bug will probably tell us jokes or sing or perform for us. Bug, is there anything you can't do?
Well, I do sound effects. You were asking for some, like I do a decent whip. Stuff like that.
Good, very good.
Can you do your own applause sound effects after each song so that we can feel some form of involvement? And the crowd goes wild.
He scores! He scores!
I do a frisky. I can do a frisky puppy.
That's very sweet. Should we end the show officially then and say thank you everyone for listening? Thank you for the upvotes. I forgot. You want your free stuff, don't you? You want your free stuff. Okay, so for free stuff, I almost forgot. You need to send a message to Crazy Krista. You need to, don't send it yet. You need to send her your BitShares address, and you need to answer a question that I'm going to set to show you're a real person, because otherwise we get spammed for free stuff. The question you need to send alongside your BitShares address, yeah, you can still send it. Unless you've never sent a message to her before. No, you can still find her. Scroll up, find her address, right click. To Crazy Krista. And so anyway, yeah, you need to send your BitShares address to her, and you need to tell her what kind of date you would take her on if you were dating her.
Should edit that out of the recording so no one can snatch that.
Well,
Yeah, you can do
it later.
Yeah, it's okay. My recording only gets published normally the day after or 2 days after.
So to clarify, if you want free stuff, send a message to Crazy Krista, tell her your BitShares address, and tell her what kind of date you would take her on if you were dating her. Do it now.
Is that for the curated people as well? Because I just want to tell Krista how, what my date idea is.
If you listen to the show, you also get a gift from her. That's the extent of her generosity. So yes, you can qualify for a free gift as well.
Cool.
I listen to the show as well. I'm blinking, by the way. I was joking. Come on.
You can try. You can try it. What you tell us what kind of date you take her on. And
Do that.
And we will
take
tell
her
you.
on a date, though. She works way too much. I'd take her on a date, but I won't make her pay me for taking her.
Okay, tell us what kind of date you take her on.
No, the good old lovely stuff. Give her a nice massage, take her out for a nice dinner, all that nice stuff. Oh, and watch the stars, so she doesn't have to work, somewhere away from the computer.
Okay, that's
well, I totally blew it then.
What's your version, Sakok?
I told her I'd take her to a blockchain conference.
She might like that. It's possible.
So mine was very realistic. I told her I would take her for dinner in Toronto on the CN Tower, overlooking the city, and then Princess of Wales Theatre. It's a $500 night.
I sure think she would like that. I think she quite likes to be pampered a little bit. She's a romantic at heart. Doctor Who date? I can't imagine that. Anyway, sorry, I'm blathering. So, go on, Breeze.
No, I was enjoying this little word tango we had going.